welcome to the end of harvest, everybody. We have been going for nearly 3 months, all day, every day. The only couple of days off we've had for the last 2.5 months or so was last weekend. We had a big old rainstorm. So, we're hurry-upping and getting everything done because there's another rainstorm coming in, and we don't want to have to restart afterwards. So, we're finishing up the last rice check we have on the farm. Very excited. I feel like cutting along that little side right there. We are just flipping around. Chasing me for most of the day, actually most of the last 2 days. So now it feels right to chase him. So I plug it up right there. We're good. So I was just talking to the other big camera because I've been recording all of. I'll take the phone out of the cradle. Been recording all of harvest with an Insta360 camera, which does a 360 degrees recording. Which, holy smokes, does that eat up a lot of memory really, really quickly. But I was just telling that camera about how we are getting down to the triangle piece, which is essentially the whole check comes down to this big triangle, which is wider over there and keeps getting skinnier, which is miserable most of the time because you're only able to use your GPS going one direction and it's a lot of turning. But for this last check, having it be like the final triangle, it's really nice because it gets smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes. So it's kind of like the final reward for getting towards the end of this whole thing, is it getting smaller. You can see it, just everything getting so much closer together. Although we're still not going very fast because all of this rice is flat, which is another huge reason that we're wanting to get everything in, because the storm's coming in. For anyone who hasn't seen what this looks like before, we're doing 1.5 miles an hour, which is actually pretty fast for rice. I think the fastest I've actually gone this year was right around 3.5 miles an hour, but that was when I was standing. If we're doing 1.5 of this, it's not too bad at all. And usually I would be doing my auto steer, but as you see, since we're going in this kind of triangle direction, all these lines are what I can press a button and the tractor can drive itself. But since we're going at a weird angle, I can't use that. So I'm just going to slowly drive it by hand, slowly making the rice up off the ground. We're getting there. I was checking in with my mom this morning over coffee. We started harvest on August 5th. So just about 2.5 months of harvest. And this is day 15 of rice harvest, minus the couple of days, well, not minus, I didn't count those days, where the rain shuts down last weekend. I'm very ready for some time off. See if I can make it go a little faster. It has an auto harvester feature on it as well, which essentially means I can set this to slow down or speed itself up as it brings material in. But sometimes it likes to be a little more conservative for my taste and slows the machine down a little bit more. So now I'm still doing just fine, but now I'm doing 1.7 miles an hour. However, this cradle bumped up to 1.7, and now it's telling me I'm losing a little bit more grain from the rotor, but that's fine. We're still in the green, we're still good, and we're getting done a little bit faster. And you guys are sitting here going, wow, this is a pretty boring stream. Watching a guy sit here in a harvester and a giant lawnmower doing 1.7 miles an hour. Yeah. Welcome to what I've been doing every single day for the past 3 weeks of my life almost. The past 2 weeks rather. Really got to get a handle on my exaggerations. Hi, Amir. See the edge right over there, getting closer. Closer and closer. 75% full. So just wait for my poor brother, who is coming over that way, to unload me. Okay, the camera doesn't like to work. Hello, Juan. So, can't assume that everyone here knows how rice harvest works. All the rice is held back there. It actually kind of goes over the top of me. There's a giant bin back there. So the rice gets cut from in front of the harvester, goes through the chute, and then there's all of these kind of mechanical things in here that are underneath me, knocks all the rice off of it, and then it goes into this holding tank behind me. And, excuse me, as my brother comes over here, we'll see me be able to unload all the rice into it. Waiting for him to turn around. And you can kind of see out there, I've got my big long spout. To line up all perfectly. Now we're going to press our button. And there we go. And adjust that so put it a little more in the middle. So he's going to unload me, and then he's going to run up there and he's going to unload from the other harvester. Then he's going to take all that and go dump it into a set of doubles on a truck, which will then take this to either the warehouse or our bins for processing, more so drying and whatnot, and then it goes to the mill from there. This rice has pretty heavy-duty husks on it, which are not quite edible. They are very, very abrasive, and it has to get all of that off of it. I actually have several different videos on my channel talking about this process. But yeah, ever wondered where rice comes from? This is it. It's going too fast. Let's slow down, try and get some more in the middle. I think we're on, I've been looking at the text messages, getting ready to finish our 90th load of rice. So that means across the entire farm, we have pulled sets of doubles for trucks and trailers, 90 sets of rice off of that. Now don't ask me to do the math and figure out exactly how many pounds of rice that is. I don't do math. I am much more of a bookworm and a reader and a writer than I am a mathematician. But I do know, because we just finished corn before we started rice, we pulled almost exactly 3 million pounds of corn off of our farm this year. And I've got to go and probably look it up if I wasn't busy live streaming and figure out exactly how many millions of pounds of almonds we pulled off of our farm this year. It was a pretty significant amount. It's funny when you sit here and you think like, yeah, A, we've got a big farm, but B, in the grand scheme of things, how big of a farm we have. It's always nice seeing like those actual numbers and analytics and figuring out exactly just how much food our small little farm creates. I mean, 3 million pounds of corn, 3 million pounds of corn in the grand scheme of the world is not a lot, but 3 million pounds of corn is a ton. It's a ton. It's several tons of corn, but it's a lot of corn. So it's always nice just thinking about how much food we provide. Getting up here to the end of the triangle. Not sure what happened there. Like I said, this is why I don't do streaming all that much. I am very much I like to edit my videos sort of person. Because I make too many mistakes on a live stream. But, gotta put this on the clamp now, because we are getting ready to make our big turn right here. You're gonna see how this gets really small really quickly. You can see way up there, dumping rice from our second harvester. Well, not our second harvester, one of our friends came to bail us out. For anyone who doesn't know, our region's about to get smashed by a pretty good rainstorm. And getting all of this in before the rainstorm is going to be huge. Because that's the other thing about being in October, is nothing dries out fast enough. So we would be out here slogging through the mud trying to get this grain in. And all of the water would really, really damage the grain. So they finished unloading up there. Also, sorry for the vibrations, but also this is what I deal with every day. I've got this thing stabilized as much as I can. Oh, looks like he might just be done. Oh, looks like the rest of the triangle might be on me. Not a problem to finish this by myself. Always got to thread the needle a little bit. Ah, dang it. Big old water straw went through. You hear that grumbling. That's what happens when you eat too much of your own straw. Rice is a crop that can really plug up your machine really hard. Especially if you ingest stuff that you've already harvested, because it's all tangled and wet and it grips together. And in all the spinning stuff down behind me, it will get tied up really, really bad. And if you plug up your machine, it's miserable for everyone. Now here comes one of the easy parts, because we get over here, get kind of lined up. Try not to eat too much of our already processed straw. There's wad, you can hear it groan. There we go. Extend our reel up a little further. This one makes it easy. So we have our GPS and RTK all set up. So we're going to basically get ourselves in the middle of that red line, which I know is going to be just off to the left-hand side. Press our auto steer button and press our auto harvest button. And then the harvester literally drives itself. I mean, I can go like that and just relax. Quite the far cry from when I was harvesting with my dad as a young boy, where nothing was automated, and we had a smaller bank out that had no amenities. We legitimately had a radio where we had like a twist dial radio and whatnot, and that was the first time I ever heard non-Christian music, believe it or not. It was the first time I found 106.7 C rock, and my mind was open to it. possibilities mixer-wise. Now, this harvester cuts 25 feet at a time, basically drives itself. Pretty nice. I think we can get a little bit faster at 1.4 miles an hour though. Bring that wheel back in a little bit, lower it, and let's give ourselves some more speed because we want to get done. See, that over there is less than a pass. That's going to be basically like that triangle that I was just processing, but it gets quite wider over there. So if I had to guess, I probably got another 2-3 rounds left. Slow going, but hey, I mean, it beats all of this. When I was sitting here considering doing a whole live stream for this, I was like, man, where do I start this? Because you don't want to start it having to be too short. Have people be like, wow, I tuned in for 5 minutes, incredible stream tip. But also didn't want to sit here and be like, hey, welcome to 4 hours of me sitting here grinding away in flat rice. No one wants to watch that. And if you do, there's something wrong. Bump that wheel speed up a little bit. You can always tell you need to bump your wheel speed up a little bit more if you're starting to not see it getting clean right there. On the other side, a little bit easier to see. We're doing 2 miles an hour now, but we're in the red, so probably better slow that down a bit. Looks 1.6. Let's see if that clears it up. 83% of the engine power is going to threshing. There we go. That cleaned it up. Going over there, everyone is going, and if they're not harvesting, they're probably burning their fields off, because I can see smoke rising from over there. There's a bunch of smoke rising behind me somewhere back there. So that's the other thing farmers will do when they finish harvesting from here is burn off some of their fields and whatnot. It helps with decomposition, helps with the fungus and everything in the fields and whatnot. I generally like to mix ours. I think it's pretty fertilizer. Although I do see a lot of smoke rising from over there where the smoke investigation's got called in. So maybe we'll on the pager see what's going on over there. Not that I can come off the harvester and fire anyways, but it's always good ones. Turn that volume down. Yep, flat rice is just so much fun. I remember last year I came out here and was bored waiting for the dew to burn off, so I was practicing my acro flying with one of my FPV drones, and didn't plummet in time, hit the rise, and it like I could not find where it was at all, and I ended up just trying to line up where the view for a loss, basically before everything turned off, like the camera view and everything. I remember like checking that and trying to match up like the last like 2 frames of video from where the drone actually fell. It took a while, but I ended up finding it because I was definitely worried that it had fallen into the rice somewhere that hadn't been harvested, and I was going to ingest a lithium battery through the harvester, and the last thing I wanted was to cause a fire out here, especially because my house is vehicles. So ended up finding it, but it took me probably like an hour and a half to walk around to find it. So that's learned that lesson of not flying manual mode FPV drones. Learn my lesson of not flying FPV drones out in rice fields. They're very, very hard to find afterwards. See my brother coming on the other side. Perfect. I have been sitting out most of the day figuring out where I was going to mount this. There's not all that many places to mount it that would really hold the weight of the cell phone. So you get basically so close I can taste it. So I mentioned recording with this 360 camera. I just popped in another memory card right before going live, essentially. I think I have no joke generated over 1,000 gigabytes of footage with just this camera alone this season, because it's filming in such high resolution and it's filming in a 360 area that it is very possible to beat up memory very quickly. I have gotten 500 gigabyte SD cards this season, so not exactly looking forward to editing all that, but it is what it is. So in years past, we would harvest going against the grain over on that side. Basically, I'd cut going this way, but that's miserable, and it makes it plug really, really easy. So now we just come over here and just do a big loop around, like so. And dive right back. rice off to the mill. What's funny is until about 2 years ago, I'd never actually eaten any of our rice from the farm, even though we eat all of our own almonds often. And then my dad got this tiny little mill for us to actually get all the husks and hulls off of the rice. And we saved, I think, like 3 garbage can full totes of rice 2 years ago. And we hulled it all of ourselves and we've been eating it ourselves. And it is very, very tasty. But, obviously you have that whole feeling of, eating stuff that came directly from your farm. But no, it was legitimately good. Now you can see that going down back there, going down to the augers. Slowly but surely, many more arms. And we're going to start getting slower there. And shut up. Now we're back to grinding. So much fun. It's so much better when it's standing. It just goes so much faster. But one thing I've learned is that you can't tell Mother Nature what to do. She dictates the rules of this game. And so that huge storm we had last weekend blew down every last bit of this rice. And the rain, through the evaporation of the rain, actually sucked a fair amount of water moisture out of the rice grain and made it dry up a lot, which is very good for harvesting purposes, but it's also when rice expands and contracts from moisture and whatnot, it cracks, and that sends your quality down because even though we all eat rice, it's just a kind of giant lump of cooked seeds. The mills, the marketers, they don't want your cracked rice. So, we definitely want to get this in before the rain, because A, make it harder to harvest, and B, it will really start ruining our quality. This is why we've been working very hard this week. Such a terrible judge of how long these triangle pieces take, because I was expecting to be done in about a half an hour, and it's coming up on a half an hour of this live stream. So we're getting a real experience of what it's like to be a rice farmer. 1.8 miles an hour, and it is grinding. 90% of the engine power. I've seen it spike up to 110% before. I don't know how you can have 110% engine power, but I'm not the engineer. But still, use an average of 80-90%. That's right where I want to keep it. It's making the machine work a little bit better, making it thresh a little harder. It's not exactly bad, but you always worry you're going to get a big slug of watered up rice that's going to plug in there. Man, is it miserable to unplug rice car plugs. All you guys in the Midwest don't have to deal with this issue, I think, because you harvest all of your wheat before everything fairly dry. Here with rice, we got to harvest it green. everything's green and holds together in a giant wad, and everything's dry and shatters. I hit the button. Let's see how close we were getting over on that side. So what I did was I hit the switch that turns off all of the cutting equipment and everything. Thankfully, all of the stuff that runs the insides of it, the threshers, will still go on, but this is why I like my edited videos. If you cut that out, you guys never would have known it. Should be able to see us cutting off the entirety of the triangles here in a second. There, use 108% of the engine power. Not ideal. And there we go. We have cut off that triangle piece. Not sure what happened there. We're back. We have terrible cell service here. Alright, so I'm going to do what's called a pro gamer move. I'm going to tilt. So that way, I can just cut on this left side. Pretty much impossible to see on this camera. Here, right on our GPS line, so we're going to hit GPS to auto steer. Start leveling our reel out. Go, we are back to 0. And we have our arbor harvest on. So now you pick this up here. A little bit faster. Extend the wheel up. So yeah, you can kind of see over here, getting way closer to being done. But my moisture meter doesn't work, so ignore that. Harvesting around 880 bushels per hour, and this says it's getting around right around 90 bushels per acre. It's around like 100 pounds per acre, whatever it is. I doubt that's accurate. Quick math, I think we get right around an average, try and get 90 sacks an acre, which is like 900,000 pounds an acre. God, I can't do math. It's a lot. It generates a fair amount of rice. I'll add this in the main video when how much rice we actually generate. Let's see. Completely full up on rice back there now. I have my little warnings over here that'll tell me when I get to 75 and 100% rice load. And it'll put on little warning lights to let my brother know that it's time to unload. Just a little bit faster, 1.4. pretty done. The problem is if you push yourself too fast, it takes in way too much rice straw and you can plug the machine. And if I plug with this little bit left to go, I don't think I will ever live it down. That's the last thing I want to do is be out here trying to fix a plugged up harvester with a dab of rice left to go, because the guy who's helping me harvest will make fun of me relentlessly if I did that, because I see he's already taken off, he's cleaning out his harvester, and I don't want to be mocked by him. I'm mocked by him enough. Or live stream, the phone is finicky. I hit one wrong button, the next thing you know, I'm off to a completely different app. Out here working late this last week or so has made for some beautiful sunsets. Starting to see all the clouds coming in over the mountains. Heralds of the storm. Storms are incoming. I can see the mirror. My brother's waiting for me over on the other side. Nearly 2 miles an hour in this stuff, which is not bad. See, that's my warning. Grain tank 3/4 full, and that means it's right around like halfway full. I want to adjust it because it can fit way more in there. Like it'll give me a warning to say that it's completely full, and it will keep going for a lot longer. Yesterday, basically what we like to do is like cut through the middle of the field. It just makes things easier for turning around, and it gave me a warning that I was completely full with probably a good like 600 or so feet left to go, and it still made it all the way to the end. Not much room for error, but still made it all the way to the end. Slowly but surely, you can see this is right around where I started the live stream, I think like 2 passes or so ago. That's where we need to end up, but we on, and it is getting closer and closer. Not having to travel all the way back to the other end helps out immensely as well. Past dark, getting home, waking up and having time for like a mug of coffee, and then I'm out the door, heading to get this whole machine ready to go for the day. So, very much looking forward to the storm tomorrow, because that gives me a chance to go edit and start planning some business trips, because I was just texting a friend, acquaintance right before this about going up and meeting up with her northwest portion of the state to start going over some drone search and rescue tactics and whatnot. Looking forward to that quite a bit. And looking forward to it raining a little bit. Alright. For a big turn. Meant to turn it off that time. Big wide turns in this machine. It's got 2 wheels in the back and tracks in the front. while they're waiting for me. Turn this on. Get lined up. Man, I can see the end already, so man, we are getting close. Come on, slow down there. Slow down. That was scary noises. Go. I think I only need to upload it to them about one more time, then we are done. Take that, everything of this, we'll take back to the shop and we'll put it into one of our trailers. Take that off to our bins to start drying it. And we kind of alternated between sending our stuff, at least in the last 2 days, today and yesterday, sending our stuff to either our bins for us to process or for the warehouse, which charges us to process it. Just so we can keep up. There goes all the rice. Big, long augers. Slow it down a little bit. We do not want to spill that out in front. Put our auto harvest back on. And we grind our way back towards that triangle end again. Slow and steady wins the race. So you can tell how flat it is, because unless you know what colors you're looking for, it's hard to pick out what's been harvested and what hasn't. The only way you can really tell is obviously this is all a little more yellow and more wavy. It's definitely more gray because that's all been dehydrated from sitting out in the wind and the sun after being harvested. But this is still flat. Watch that right there. Fall sometime. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it likes to fall up there. It likes to fall up there on the edges, and when it sends a big wad of it through, it is not fun on this harvester at all. 1.2, maybe faster than that. I'm looking forward to being done with this too, because I have so much work to do over in the orchards. Obviously after it dries out, and if it doesn't dry out, then we're SOL. But that's the greatest part about getting harvest done. It's like, because right now, like all the stuff we work for all throughout the year is coming in. It's like, this is the only way we get paid for this job, is taking this grain, nuts, or corn, or whatever we grow out of the field and get it off to the mills, the marketers, and whatnot. That's the only way we get paid. Everything else throughout the year is putting money into stuff. So once it gets done, once it's all harvested, if it rains on everything, screw it. It's fine. Totally fine. We'll do it later. But if it rains while your stuff's actually out in the field, then I hope you have good insurance. Insurance is harder and harder in California. That's a fun fact. This is a drone channel. Here I am talking about farming and whatnot. I tried to insure my drones and got told that they're not insuring any drones in California because they're vehicles. And something along those lines. Something like that. I was basically told, like, no, you can't get insurance in California because of just all the reasons from all the various fires and whatnot. Because with DJI Care Refresh and everything kind of going away, I'm trying to obviously secure insurance for both the farm drones, the search and rescue drones, trying to get insurance for all of that. to just have that backup, and that has been an absolute nightmare trying to figure that out. One of the great things about growing up, my kids both are just like, well, we want to grow up. I'm like, no, we don't want to grow up. Wait till you learn what insurance and taxes are. You never want to grow up. And I explained to them what taxes are. I tell them about the dad tax. Every time they have like a whole wrong ice cream or something, dad gets the dad tax. Don't sleep on the dad tax. Turn this around, phone back in its cradle because you're getting more and more turns. Watching my engine, make sure I'm not overloading it. Fun fact, this harvester uses diesel exhaust fluid, and we've gone through about 3/4 of a pallet of DEF jugs. I'm trying to calculate how many gallons that is in my head, but it's a lot. One of these days, I'm going to keep track of just how much fuel and DEF we put into this harvester every year, because it's an astronomical amount. And one of the things we were talking about this morning was wondering if, with all of the plastic jugs of DEF that we use, I wonder how much we're offsetting our carbon footprint with this giant rice harvester with all of the plastic that the DEF jugs use in both their creation and all of the waste that it generates and whatnot. I'd be curious to see that. Is it a net positive? Is it a net negative? What is it? That was right. Can't see it because it's just off camera, but I'm picking up some straw from the left-hand side where I've already harvested, and it's making the machine not happy. Let's do this. Peel off. I'm going to tilt it and scoop that up. There we go. Set that to 0. Spin ourselves around. Getting ourselves lined up, and yep, we have a very small triangle to do now. We're going to tilt back in and slowly ease ourselves in. On our GPS line, so we're going to start that. Let's put the reel out a little bit more. The reel helps pick up the rice on the ground, and so extending it out means it's going to grab more rice, which can be great. You just got to always be adjusting it. That's one of the things about rice harvesting. You're constantly adjusting stuff. Lamins, you basically just get in it and go. With rice, you're constantly making all sorts of little adjustments as you go, whether it's the tilt, whether it's the reel, how far the reel's out, the reel speed. Constantly doing little things here and there. Now you can see very little left, just from there to there, and with this pass and one more pass, I think we'll be pretty much done. I'll have to turn around and get one last little bit, but we should have this thing pretty well lit. Then we are done with rice harvest. Done with harvest in general. The only reason I say in general is because after the rainstorm, I'm going to ask my cousin to see if he needs help harvesting his rice. Because apparently my cousin's rice harvester is just falling apart, broken down, and doing parts and whatnot. And since we, reached out for help from multiple different people, and we're lucky enough to have someone who can help us, even though I'm so ready to not be sitting and saying anymore, it's the right thing to ask my cousin to see if he needs help finishing up his house. But having all of my stuff in, it's still very, very nice. this while I play around with all of this layout. There we go. So this is what it looks like out the back. I actually have a backup camera on this thing, and you can see spreading all the straw. Once the straw goes through all of this thresher stuff right here, so basically this is a layout of how this all works. The rice, once it gets chopped from there, comes in and goes through the big concave, which spins, knocks all the rice off, which falls down here. This helps separate the rice from the chaff, which is basically the leaves, the sticks, and whatnot, with this big fan and all these sieves. And then this is the chopper that pulls all of the straw that you see out there. The chopper that throws everything on the back into some spreaders. So we have a like big hanging rubber mat on this side, which keeps the straw going into the field, going in, because we don't want to be throwing stuff we've already harvested on top of that. Throws all that, blocks it, but this side doesn't have a mat because it just wanted to spread. So that's why you can see it's all spread out over there, but still nice and clean right there. We're probably gonna have to turn around and do one more pass that way and one more pass that way in order to finish, but it's gonna be close. It is going to take me forever to transfer over this footage. I have over here my little charge case, 500 gigabyte memory card, completely full, 128 gigabyte memory card, full with about 30 seconds more footage. So hopefully this lasts, because I need to record an outro on it for the main video, because I have been recording on this 360 camera since the very beginning of harvest. That's how I've kept track of the days. Day 15, so it's 2 weeks in a day. And the reason I've been wanting to record on the 360 camera is because it records everything always, so if I want a cool shot of me dumping, I can do that. And I can also talk to it, not have to sit there and worry about like a GoPro where it's constantly changing it around. But man, does it go through storage really fast. Have my auto harvester set on. We were just going at a normal speed. Cool. Finish this, and it's such a short jaunt, I'm not even going to turn off the reel this time. Up. That's a sight for sore eyes. Really small triangle. So close to the end, y'all. To this, since we're cutting a different way, it sometimes causes the machine to kind of plug up. Seems counterintuitive, but cutting with the grain coming towards you is harder than cutting with the grain going away from you, because I think it's because the fingers help pick it up and the grass or the rice is laying away from you. Whereas this, you feel like it feeds easier, but it doesn't. I always have to go slower this way. Someone smarter than me, tell me why. There's a lot of people out there smarter than me. And I really wish I knew why my Insta360 recognizes that as telling it to stop recording. I don't know why. But good to know, I've got 47 minutes of footage left on there, so perfect. Don't think I'm going to need all of it. Sure hope not. 3/4 full again. just come over here for... Sorry about that. This, you should just take this back to the house. Guys, everything else I can fit and I'll bring back with me. Let's slow that down a bit just to even out the pile a little bit. And for anyone who might not have seen it, that's where all the rice is held, and you can see it all going down in there through a big old series of elevators and augers, and it goes through a giant spinning corkscrew auger up there, right on it. Off. Perfect timing because it didn't make another turn again. This should be one of our second to last turns. Dropping our left-hand side down. We're starting to pick up. Just dropping our right. Ooh, hear that? That is a sound we don't want to hear. That is the sound of a harvester in distress. And there we go. Flip around. 0. I guess we'll... No reason to 0 because we might as well keep that on the left-hand side down. Slide on in. And look at that. Tiny little bit left. This is the final stretch of Harvest 2025. I am almost a free man. 2.5 months. 2 days off. 2.5 months. Auto steer. You want to keep that left side down a little bit. So you get more. So this is what I'm talking about. I basically adjust its tilt left right. So I've been testing it so it's down on the left side. But now we need it to be more centered because we're getting over there. We don't want to be picking up stuff over there. So we'll get that closer to center. There we go. Still picking up a little bit, but we'll be fine. Let's extend our reel out a little bit more. You can tell how far our reel is out by those numbers over there. Generally don't like to have it go past 8 because then it just picks up too much or it scratches the dirt. Yep. This is the last pass headed north. Thank you all for joining me on this last day of Harvest 2025. It has been an exhausting several weeks. I have a very busy winter season coming up, but at least harvest is done. Harvest is what pays bills. YouTube do not pay the bills just yet. But really looking forward to showing some things we got planned for this winter. Not joking when I say I think I have a business trips planned, and a lot of it's going to be filming. Props. Let's put this back here for now. Might have to do a little bit of backing up to get the last little dab, or I might just do it one more turn. We'll see. There we go. Gotta turn to the left so we can get enough room to turn around. Big old spin. That is all we have left. Right there. Let's see if we can fit it all in one. I don't think we're going to. Nope, we're going to have to back up a little bit. That's all right. Wrong button. Alright, instead of turning around, let's just back up and hit this little bit right here. No kernel left behind. Go. That. This is it. This is the last thing we have to harvest this year. This last tiny little strip of rice. 1,000 acres of almonds, 2,000 acres, 1,000 acres of almonds, 200 acres of corn, 550 acres of rice. We started August 5th on almonds, and it is October 12th, our 15th day harvesting rice. Not consecutive because of the rained out days, so just about 3 weeks of rice. But yep, 2.5 months. All day, every day. Fill me out, baby. Let's pick up some straw on the right-hand side. And there we go. Harvest 2025 in the bag. Thank you all so much for joining me as I finish up harvest. I'm going to dump the last of the rice out. I'm going to take this back home, start cleaning everything up before the storm tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.